Every yard, every hit, every second. It's earned out here. This game demands more than just skill. It demands fuel. The right fuel. Cause out here it's not just about how hard you work. It's about how long you keep going. When the game gets real, drink bottle still.
Connor, welcome back. A rough end to your weekend as the Panda game did not quite go in your favor.
No, it didn't. It didn't. After 6 years, or 6 games, I should say, the Ottawa
7
GGs,
years. Yeah.
7 years, they have surrendered Pedro the Panda in the Panda game to the Carleton Ravens. But man, credit where credit's due, and hats off to the Carleton Ravens. And I have to say that off the top, because they played a really, really, really good football game, I thought, in this one. And yes, obviously I'm kind of a homer in this one a little bit. There's a side of me that was really pulling for Ottawa, but it was a good football game from Carleton, and I'm really happy to acknowledge that, because we always love our chats with Coach Corey Grant, and it's awesome to see him go get one of those and celebrate that. So I can acknowledge that. I acknowledge that side of the ball too there. But yeah, man, special teams in this one, obviously the difference maker.
Yeah. And I want to say, Coach Corey usually says to us, like, I'm hoping I can go and get one of those Panda games. Seeing him lift Pedro in front of that locker room, oh my God. What a sight. What
Yeah.
a just like huge sigh of relief for Carleton alumni, fans, parents, players. The streak is broken. They played a hell of a game. You mentioned the special teams. Mac Holiday, special teams coordinator, cleanest run through, dialed up, blocked at a certain time, a specific time. Uh, Obviously gets blocked, returned for a touchdown, which is the huge swing before the half. But Connor, all game long, it felt like this special teams unit from Carleton, from punting, Secandria, like he was dropping them inside the 10. I know the stat gets counted inside the 20, but they were deep. They were 5 yards, 8 yards, 3 yards, just pinning them into the corner, well inside the numbers. And it really felt like as much of a weapon as Ottawa's return game has been with Denny Ferdinand and Charles Asselin, the kicking and the punt placement and the kick placement, even when they had to kick off from Forcier, they were so well spotted and so deep and into corners that they just eliminated a lot of options for you, Ottawa. And, it sets their defense up in a good spot, and a defense that played lights out against a team that many thought, including us both, were just going to run wild. And Ottawa really didn't try to run wild. The 10 carries for Charles Asselin. Yes, I know you're trailing, but really, that, like, the guy we talked about getting 30 touches a game to be that marker for you, you give him 10 rushing attempts, does not really sit well with me. But this Carleton defense played on their head. They stood on it all game. And special teams, Mac Holiday, Forcier, Secandria, and this coverage unit. Oh my God, they take the game ball for sure.
Yeah, wait, talking about this Carleton coverage unit, let's talk about the 11 PBUs that they had in this game. 11 PBUs. Jake Henderson had 3, Ryan Grant had 2. I mean, what a stellar day from that back end unit, as you were saying. Again, hats off to the Carleton Ravens, and congrats on the Panda win. That's all I can really say about this one.
One final one, early in the game, Ottawa scores. Carleton turns the ball over. They go to Elijah Barnes, and we've seen them do this back and forth thing with the quarterbacks. And every time it seems they finally decide, okay, this is our quarterback today. That quarterback plays well. Elijah Barnes just managed the game. Nothing impressive, not even 200 yards passing, but didn't turn the ball over. Just kind of moved the ball enough to allow the punt team to give them that field position advantage. And, with the defense playing as tight as they did, a lot of Jansen's yards came late. They had that final drive where he launched one to midfield and got a 50 yards on that. So a lot goes to this Carleton defense for playing well. Special teams we talked about, but the offense just, after that first interception by Lefebvre, Barnes just kind of came in and said, let's just play safe. Let's just take care of the football and let our defense and special teams win this for us. As a result, Pedro is back on Bronson, as much as Connor doesn't want to hear that. Other games though, Connor, we had a wild weekend of OUA football. Waterloo going down to the wire, Windsor and Western having the kicker battle, and then the Queen's Guelph game, which was just a knock 'em out, drag 'em out slugfest all the way till the end.
I think, you know what, Wade, I think we have to go to York Waterloo. We're talking about playoff standings a lot right now, and that's because we're really coming down to the wire here. And this game was huge. It was an opportunity. We said York had an opportunity to go to what would have been 3-3 on the season, but Waterloo says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hold up! We're still going to be in the mix. We're still going to throw our hat in this thing," and they come out with a 34-33 win. And, obviously, I think we're going to talk about this Anthony Miller touchdown a little bit later. But what I want to talk about here off the top is, it took until the fourth quarter for Waterloo to kind of claim this victory, but it always felt like they were within striking distance, and they put themselves in position to be within striking position when the time came. And when the time did come, it was late in the game, and all it took was a 17-yard field goal from Evan Astolfo. But yeah, I thought Waterloo did a really good job of playing the long game in this one.
And yeah, to Waterloo's credit, the defense played lights out in the first half, right? Only the 2 points for York as they get the safety to kind of put themselves on the board. Third quarter kind of rocky, and then you're right, Evan Astolfo is the difference maker. And we've talked about Brady Lidster, and we've had Brian Garrity in the past be that guy, and Brady Lidster certainly this year has put every kicker statistic in his own corner here for arguments. But Evan Astolfo, true freshman, Connor. Burlington guy, Burlington Stampeders, good program there. He comes out, and let's go back to the U of T game where he mashes a 50-plus yarder to send them into OT. Okay, then this game, 4 field goals, including the game winner at the very end. Connor, the most impressive thing that Evan Astolfo did this game was the onside dribble kick, where he punched it through about 20 yards, well past the yardage he needed to, but right into a pocket. He went down and recovered it himself. This true freshman kicker has been a absolute weapon for Waterloo and for Coach Bertoya. He is automatic from anywhere inside of 50, I'd like to say. The extra here with the onside kicking and the finesse to have that was just an extra cherry on top. But it starts with that gosh darn Anthony Miller touchdown to get them even going on this crazy comeback. I mean, with under a minute left, Anthony Miller goes up over the top of 3 people, lands short of the end zone, but fights his way in. A York penalty on the PAT pushes the kickoff up. Astolfo hits the dribble. Waterloo runs the clock out, kicks the field goal, and says, "All right, let's get out of here." You know what? In a game where the quarterback situation's been back and forth, right? Nick Orr's been hurt. He's been back, hurt, back. Caban in, Caban out. Emmett Ward in, Emmett Ward out. They've used 3 quarterbacks, I think, equally through these 6 games. Caban comes in, and he has a ton of experience, but they get the run game going with Vanderveen, who I think's had a spectacular year, as quiet as Anthony Miller has been. In terms of just the pure yardage, Roy Vanderveen has done a spectacular job, it looks like, in pass pro as well. Evan Basiliga, playing with what I heard was a shoulder injury, puts up a big chunk of yardage, but Caban gets all the help around him, and it makes such a world of a difference. And Waterloo can play with fast and physical, and they're not really playing a big power run team, which is, what Coach Burt kind of said. If one team's going to hurt us, it's going to be the power run teams. York isn't really that. They took advantage of it and used their speed to their benefit in this one.
And that puts them, as I said, to 2-5 on the season. And Wade, we have 4 teams now in the playoff standings duking it out for that final playoff spot.
Connor, it could be 7 teams. I mean, we have 4 right now with 2 wins, but Windsor, Carleton, Ottawa, all with 3 wins. Windsor does not have an easy schedule on their way out. They've got to play against the Ottawa GGs, and then they've got to play against the Queens Golden Gales. Both of those games are on the road, so Windsor has to go all the way to the end of the 401, all the way back, and all the way back down to Kingston again. Those are huge road trips this late in the season. Now, I will say the Ottawa one's also on Thanksgiving weekend, so we're looking at this 4-team backlog. It could easily turn into a 5 or 6 team, jumble by the end of this, and tiebreakers will ensue and the whole nine. But the OUA has 7 spots for 11 teams. A lot of people are going to get left out, and some early losses in the season might come back to rear their ugly heads.
Absolutely, Wade. And let's move on, though, here in the OUA week that was. Let's go to Western and Windsor. And Windsor, Wade, in control of this one. And not only did they run with, but ran past the Western Mustangs, outran them in this one. But Western is as Western does, as we like to say. And it took them till late in the game to put it away. But they did come away with a 15-6 win off the leg of Brian Garrity. Special teams, Wade. We picking up on a theme this week or what? In a 15-6 win that was all kickers.
Yeah, and Connor, for me, this game comes down to what we talked about with Windsor before the game. You cannot beat Western kicking field goals. Your defense did everything in their power to make sure Western kicked field goals. The offense, meanwhile, could not break through. And I want to go to a late game 3rd and 2 situation when Western, they were kind of getting pushed on their heels a little bit. Windsor gets to 3rd and 2, goes into their under the center heavy package, and they try to get the reverse going to one of the receivers. And it just so happened that Western blew it up, and Richard Adubfor ends up making the tackle way in the backfield and sending the offense back onto the field. But at that point, Connor, it was 9-6. If they get that and continue to push down and score, it's a tie game. Who knows what happens? But Western's defense is ferocious, and it starts in the front four. And Max von Muhldorfer has played spectacular all year long. Flip side, Dolby, Hillock, the playmakers that Western has just consistently get to their spots, get to their yardage, get to their markers, get to their stat totals that they seem to keep churning out and helping this offense push forward. But, Windsor has the size on both sides of the line to, compete with teams like this that want to play power football. It just felt like they tried to go out onto the edges when it was 3rd and 2 and everyone was expecting them to use the size. Western, though, so well coached, so prepared for everything that you bring, was able to take advantage of it. So for Windsor, you're sitting there saying, darn, we should have had that one. For Western, you're saying, man, if we break through to the end zone, this game could be wide open. Windsor's offense needs to find the end zone against these top end teams.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that point. But if I'm looking forward in the schedule, and if I'm Ottawa, if I'm Queens, and I'm looking at Windsor, and I'm looking at this game against Western, Wade, like I think they're looking at this and they're going, wow, okay, like Windsor just did that against a Western team that's been putting up points on everybody. So this is certainly a Windsor team that can play some defense. They're a team that is, definitely not to be taken lightly. But let's go to this Queens Guelph game, and Alex Freakin goes for almost 300 again in this game, adding to his total on the season as the number 1 quarterback in the nation in terms of passing yards this season.
Yeah, Vreet continues to just be the guy for these Queens Gales. And, they're down 7-0 in the first quarter. First drive for Queens felt like they had all the momentum. Chazar gets hit at a weird angle and ball pops out. Guelph takes advantage, scores, and when Queens gets the ball back, you're kind of thinking, oh my God, this is a must-score drive here, because Guelph looks like they're running the ball well. It looks like Aboud's comfortable. He's moving in the pocket again. He's starting to run instead of just extend, and hope. He's kind of taking off and getting downfield. And Alex Freakin rips a post into Tuioti, the big H receiver. And, it's in tight coverage. It hits Tuioti right between the 8 and the 7. He falls into the end zone, and it's 7-7. And all of a sudden, you just feel the Queen sideline go, all right, game time. Defense starts to tighten up. They play back and forth. It's not very high scoring. all of a sudden, Marshall McCray goes down in the fourth quarter, and it kind of feels like Guelph gets the wind taken out of their sails. Queens scores, goes up, and then scores the big touchdown to Falcone on the jailbreak screen. Uh, I don't know if teams have noticed this. Queens likes to throw jailbreak screens. Russell Weir, Falcone have both gotten very long touchdowns off of these multiple times in the year. So it might be something to look forward to. But it's so hard with its RPO threat to play both at the same time, and that's where Queens really takes advantage. So Vreek, Cesari, Falcone, the offense got going. But this game was all about the physicality, all about the front four for both defenses, the front five offensive linemen. They were back and forth, and it was a slugfest.
Oh, it certainly was. It certainly was. I mean, 3 sacks on the day for Queens in this one, 55 total tackles, Wade. I mean, they were all over the ball. I thought it was another really, really impressive day from the front seven unit for these Queens Gales. I mean, I don't know. Are they one of the best unit? Are they in the conversation for the best unit right now in the OUA? They're certainly playing like it over the last couple of games here.
Connor, it seems like it, and Ollie Jackson didn't have a sack, but he was making pressures. He had a key tackle on third and long. He stopped Abood short as Abood tried to scramble, but DJ Ryan I think is the one, Connor, that has played lights out the last couple of weeks. And when early on it felt like Guelph was kind of hitting some different schemes and making an adjustment on the sidelines, and Queens for the most part outside of the Marshall McCray package was doing a good job against the run. Even with McCray, it wasn't killing them, but they were able to rally around it. They were able to get guys into gaps and make some plays. And DJ Ryan ends up with a big sack, slips, recovers, gets back up, and gets to a boot. He's played lights out. If he continues to do that, this Queens team feels very confident, I think, in the Windsor game to come, in the bye week this week, of just kind of building on what they have. So certainly the Gales front seven, as young as they are, they're playing well experienced football and are making plays and growing as the season goes along.
All right, Wade, one more game to get to here. Let's move on to the final matchup in this week's episode. For the recap episode, McMaster getting a 35-16 win over those Toronto Varsity Blues, throwing their names into the mix too for that final playoff spot. So as we said, 4 teams, 1 spot. McMaster showing up and playing some good football against what has been an electric Varsity Blues offense.
Hey, Connor, I got another special teamer for you, because Michael Horvat walked out and hit 7 freaking field goals. Plus, he punted the ball well. Plus, he had 2 extra points. Plus, he had 3 really good kickoffs. Connor, this game was the special teams showcase for Horvat. I mean, he was all over it. 27, 25, 39, 26, 37. That was from the second quarter until the fourth quarter. That was all of the scoring in the game. If you want to include the extra point that he kicked after their second touchdown of the day, Connor, Michael Horvat had
23 total points, Wade.
but 16 consecutive and 16 unanswered points. In basketball, you hear 16 unanswered, like, oh, wow, that's a good run. You hear 16 unanswered on your own in football, and you go, whoa, what the hell happened? So this game was out of reach because of Michael Horvat's leg. And, a day where Toronto's defense didn't give up too much, but the offense just couldn't really get going. 21 completions for only 220 yards for Barnett. It's not much. We've seen them pepper those under routes and kind of short game the teams to death, but McMaster did not bite. They did not fold. Thalman did just enough, and Horvat showing why he is one of the all-time great kickers in McMaster history.
Absolutely. And just one point on Thalman here before we move on, Wade. I think for me, and feel free to jump in on this one too, but this is kind of the game that I've been waiting to see out of Luke Thalman. He didn't really have to do anything. He didn't really have to force anything. He had a great day going 20 of 26, and he hit 2 touchdowns on the day. He just kind of spotted the ball down the field, did what he needed to do, and it resulted in, obviously, we're talking about Horvat putting the game away. But I still thought Thalman did a really good job and stayed really patient this week. And again, this is the game that I think I was kind of waiting to see from Luke Thalman.
And he wasn't the team's leading rusher, Connor. Just one extra point there. McMaster finally got something going with Duchesne and co. on the ground. Well, anyways, we are approaching Thanksgiving weekend, which is Queens Gales coach, former coach Pat Sheen always says, family, food, and football in no particular order. We will be ready for that. A slate of Friday games coming up, so stay tuned. A little earlier than normal this week in the OUA. Connor, if you want to check out the games, you can go to OUA TV and rewatch all the action. If you want to stay hydrated, BioSteel, the main partner for hydration with the OUA. Make sure you guys check them out in stores locally and online. Make sure to stay hydrated, drink your BioSteel, and stay tuned for more here on OUA.ca.